Got me.
I'd like to call to order the June meeting of the Dayton Independent Board of Education, and we'll begin with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
stands,
stands,
one nation, of the United States, indivisible, and to the republic justice for all. Okay. We'll have the roll call.
All right, Lisa's recovering. We had a little technical in-studio feedback there. Not sure what went south on us, but we're good now, I think.
Okay, Lisa, the roll call.
Okay. Give me just 1 second here.
That's fine.
So Casey, I did what you told me. I put it up on the screen and it was feedback.
The old feedback. Feedback is not your friend.
No, it's not.
And what happens is we're all three in the same room right now for the graduation and the swearing in, and then I'll retreat to another spot. But all of our computers are bouncing off of each other with feedback too. So
Okay, here we go. Carrie Downard,
Yes, ma'am.
Diane Huff,
Yes, ma'am.
Lori Peterson,
Yes, ma'am.
Bernie Pfeffer,
yes, ma'am.
Roseanne Sharon.
Yes, ma'am. And next we have our statutory oath of office for our new board member.
Yay.
Lori, come on around.
Okay, Lori, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth, and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as you continue to be a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully execute to the best of your ability the office of member of the Dayton Independent Schools Board of Education according to law? If you do further solemnly swear that since the adoption of the present Constitution, that you will be a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within this state, not out of it, nor have you sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have you acted as a second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help you God.
Lori, if you'll mute your computer. I think if we just have one that's on, that'll help. So at least so long as you just leave yours on.
I got what you.
I'm on, okay.
So next we have some recognition tonight. And I'll let Mr. Brewer take over here.
All right. We're excited tonight for the graduation of Malachi Lawson. Malachi and his family is here. They're going to come on in. Come on up here, Malachi. You'll stand right here. Awesome. Welcome, family and friends. We're glad you're here today. A lot of familiar faces there that I like to see. So we're honored to be here tonight. We have no audio.
Now we do.
Now we do. All right. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. Again, we want to welcome everyone here to the Dayton Board of Education for the graduation ceremony for 2020 for Malachi Lawson. We want to take a minute to have a moment of prayer, so if you'll join me in quiet reflection. We ask for you, Almighty Hand, to be upon Malachi Lawson. Bless his life from this day forward with goodness and love. Help him stay true to his dreams, to his gifts, to use his gifts wisely, and to walk in the future with faith, hope, and great love. Amen.
So Malachi, now you can move your tassel from the right to the left, signifying your achievement and readiness
Okay.
for life.
Go. And here's your diploma. Congratulations. Awesome.
And Malachi, as chairman of the Dayton Board of Education, it gives me great pleasure to confer upon you your high school diploma. I'm now pleased to declare you a graduate of Dayton High School for 2020. Congratulations.
In summary, I want to say Malachi's going places. I really believe that a very special individual, a great, I don't know if we can still call you a kid, I'll always be a kid to me. Malachi was here when I started 8 years ago. Love to see Malachi getting across the graduation line. I know you're going to do wonderful things. So once the devil, always the devil. If you need us, we're here. I know you guys have my text, so you're in touch with me all the time, so appreciate that and let me know how you're doing. All right, best of luck and take care. Thanks. All right.
We should be able, yes, we'll get you a tassel. Yes.
I'm going to try to introduce the feedback, like going to another room.
Sounds great.
We'll let you guys celebrate. We're going to get on. Feel free to hang out here.
While they're doing that, I'll just say I would like to thank Barbie for helping Malachi. Ms. Lukens, Malachi reached out to us and didn't quite have everything completed in order to graduate. And he was close enough that we felt that we could help get him completed by the end of June. And Ms. Lukens came in and worked with him after the school year was over. We did some social distancing, but she came in and assisted him with some content that he was struggling with to get him across the finish line. So again, it's just another example of a staff member going above and beyond to help our kids reach their goals. So I just want to commend her for doing that.
Okay. Well, I guess we can do the next thing without Jay being hooked up. And that's the approval of the consent agenda. And you've had time to look over that. So if there's no questions, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, Bernie moved and Diane seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right, then the consent agenda has been approved and we can move on to our reports. And I think Mr. Myers is there listening in.
I think Mrs. Dragon is going to go first, correct?
Oh. Is she?
Yes, Heather requested if we could bump her up a little bit, Scott, if that's okay with you. Both reports should be fairly brief. So I know Scott's out at a game, and both our principals are just very, very busy individuals. So is Heather with us? I'm trying to see if she.
I'm
here.
Okay, I just don't see you on the big screen.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me go, Scott. I promise I'll make it quick. To start off with, I just wanted to let the board know that we do have everyone set for our SBDM council for next school year, all of the teachers and the parents. And also we've had 3 openings, vacant openings for the next school year, and those have also been filled. We have hired Tracy Gentrup for FRC coordinator to replace Miss Gina from her retirement. We also have hired a new preschool teacher to replace Teresa from her retirement, and her name is Lydia Marksberry. Tracy Jarbo is our new speech therapist. I also wanted to just share with you that we are excited that we were able to offer a 21st century learning program. It looks very different from years past. In years past, the students are on campus, they're taking field trips. So this has been done remotely. It has included our director, Kelly, as well as 6 LES teachers. And basically we have replicated what NTI looked like, but this time we've delivered goodie bags, crafts, learning activities. The teachers are also reaching out to families via the telephone, FaceTime. They've been doing some YouTube videos for the kids. So we had to be very creative because obviously we have that 21st century grant and we needed to fulfill a summer program. So that is actually ending tomorrow is the last day. But I'm grateful for the teachers and Kelly for all of their work on that. Another big initiative taking place right now is the LES administration, along with Mr. Brewer and Mr. Wolf and the math teachers at Lincoln, have been busy researching math programs for our students. We've had several webinars and we're narrowing down our picks. And that's basically what I have for this evening. Does anybody have any questions? Jay, do you have anything? Oh, I can't hear you, Jay.
Yeah, I'm still trying to settle in here. I'm back in the friendly confines of the office here. No, just again, I want to applaud the Lincoln staff for a wonderful closeout of the year, finishing up with our kids, and then compliment many of her Lincoln staff members have been part of our food service delivery crew, helping prepare the food. And then I appreciate Heather and Tim always being on call and at will as we start to navigate the reopening of Lincoln Elementary for the fall of 2020 and how that's going to look. So also excited to see a new math adoption program coming in. And I know we're looking at a very strong virtual component to that, which currently does not exist in our current math program. So with the fact that all of our students will now have a one-to-one device K through 6 at Lincoln, we'll be able to do more virtual learning. I know the board and others have seen United Way partnering with the Horizon Fund and Cincinnati Bell to bring internet services to families and communities across northern Kentucky who don't have that opportunity. So looks like all the pieces are coming together for Lincoln Elementary. So keep up the great work.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Myers, now you're up.
All right. Thank you, guys, and appreciate everybody being here this evening. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, great. First off, I just want to update everybody. We are now have our final numbers for graduation. We did finish with 59 out of 62 students who are eligible to graduate in the class of 2020. We tried to get a couple of those last couple of students across the finish line. Unfortunately, we did not weren't able to do that by this evening. But we will keep working at that. Case in point, I want to applaud and send my congratulations to Malachi Lawson. There's an example of a student who did not finish last year, but finished this year. And congratulations to Malachi. Very pleased with his achievement and want to congratulate him as well. So we'll keep working with those other students. We don't give up on them. We'll try and get them across the finish line as part of our 5-year cohort. Just an update on summer school. We have 36 students in grades 9 through 12 that enrolled in summer school. We started on Monday, June 8th. We'll be wrapping up this Friday, June the 26th. We have 4 teachers who are working with these groups. Summer school is taking place virtually. we did not offer summer school for our middle school. So we are trying to make sure that our students in the high school earn those credits, get them to grade level, and keep them on target towards their graduation. So that's an update on the summer school. It's going well. It's every day. Teachers are available from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and of course, they respond throughout the day to different things, needs of our students. So they're doing a nice job. I do have some really nice news here. I want to congratulate an upcoming senior, Angel Patterson. She's been named to the Governor's Scholar Program. She's very, very excited about that. We're very proud of her. Outstanding achievement. She's a tremendous young lady, and I could not be happier for her to have this experience. And that's a wonderful program and another great thing going on at Dayton High School. So congratulations to Angel. This will make Casey Woods happy, as well as the high school here. Our student device pickup update. We had 401 students with us on our last day of school, I believe, on March the 13th, a traditional school, before we went to NTI. Now we're calling it virtual. But we collected all but 6 devices school-wide, which I think is tremendous. And it took a lot of work from many of our staff members. So I want to applaud them for their efforts. I'd also want to, since our last meeting, we had our senior celebration parade, and awarding diplomas was held on Saturday, May the 30th. And so many people stepped up and made that a great celebration for our class of 2020, and we received a lot of positive feedback from our seniors who are graduating, but most importantly, our seniors, but also their families, and that makes us feel good. And we were happy to give them a proper send off, and we wish the class of 2020 all the best of luck, and very proud of them. We have another update. We have completed hiring of our certified staff for 2020-2021 school year. So we're hoping that we don't have any surprises here in late June and July, and that our staff is intact for next year. We're very excited about our staff for next year, and think we're going to have a great school year. That's about all I have. And any questions?
Can I ask just one quick question?
Yes.
For the summer school numbers, I was just curious if that was a normal number or if COVID affected that at all.
That's about typical for us, for our high school numbers. Usually we have it for middle school as well. We did not do that this year. But high school numbers, that's about typical. In fact, we had, so there was not a big spike in terms of failures and that nature. So we're pleased with that.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Scott, the Governor's Scholar, will she actually be going to that program, or how are they doing that this year with the COVID-19?
I'm not sure exactly how they're doing that. Scott, I
think they only get 1 week instead of 6.
Okay.
Okay.
But they are still going to go away, but it will just be shorter.
Just be shorter. Okay.
Well, good for her. Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Myers?
I just want to add, I think I'm finally getting the mute button down here. Just congratulations to the whole high school staff on the finishing out of the school year in particular. It seems like the graduation celebration was like 3 years ago, but it really was last board meeting. Kudos on the 95% graduation rate, our highest rate in quite some time. And the number of students we're now getting across the goal line there. So I believe it's our largest graduating class since I believe it was 2006, in which we had a 61 or 62 graduate back then. So kudos to the number and to the percentage there, and to the work to really put together what I felt and many of the students felt was a very special day for them. From the videos to the pictures to the parade to the recognizing of the graduates in front of the school, I thought it went very well. So congratulations to you and your staff on that.
Thank you.
We're very grateful. It was very nice. You guys went well above and beyond.
5-star.
Absolutely.
Like to say.
Congratulations all, and congratulations, Mrs. Downer, for having the valedictorian of the class of 2020. Yep. It's fantastic. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wolf.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
In the world of curriculum instruction and assessment, it's slow right now, but in the world of getting every report in the world due to KDE, we're in business in that area. As you, on my report, talked about professional learning. Did you guys see the separate report on the professional learning needs assessment that we'd sent out to staff? Okay, so we normally send that out beginning of March. When COVID-19 hit, we waited a little bit and we added the two on, we added two aspects to those results, one on teaching in a virtual environment, and the other one was, let me look off the top of my head, something using technology. So those were the two highest ones, and we use those results just to help us plan our professional learning throughout the year. And so we'll use those results. I just wanted you guys to have those. Any questions in regards to those? No. Any questions about what is on my report?
Nope.
We did get more Title I monies this year, so I've been working with Trish to finalize that report. Our schools are going to get more monies for that, and then we have CARES monies coming in, which I'm going to work with Jay and Ron in July on finalizing all that. But a good thing is we will be getting more federal dollars. So that's all I have.
Good.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kinman.
Yes, I just wanted to, obviously I didn't submit a report, it's just not in your file, but I just wanted to touch on a couple things. Last Wednesday, we had the compliance school safety officer come do a visit, and we had to walk the buildings. And, you know, Jay and I talked, we need the buildings to be as clean as a hospital, secure as a jail, and as welcoming as your favorite restaurant. It's
I always say it's welcoming as Disney.
Welcoming as Disney.
And then from Ludlow, I also throw in, we had a small grocery store around the corner on Stokes A Street, was called Herm's Grocery. Very traditional corner grocery that a lot of us in this group remember. Used to be one on every corner in every city along the river. So I tell him, yeah, we need to be as clean as the hospital, safe as a prison, as welcoming as Disney, but on a Herm's Grocery budget. So, he's going to put it all together in a 5-star fashion for us.
That is the plan. I will tell you that they gave us some recommendations of things that we will still need to do to our buildings to make them even more secure. But we're in much better shape than most school districts are at this time with that. The custodians are doing a fabulous job of getting our buildings ready. We've kind of been trying to get the rooms clean, but we've been in kind of a holding pattern as far as making the decisions about how to set rooms up, because we kind of wanted to see what the guidelines were going to be from KDE regarding social distancing. So they've kind of just went ahead and started setting them back up just like normal, with the intentions of if we have to make adjustments, we will. Schools, safety, cleaning. We've ordered a machine back on March 31st. We're 12 weeks out on the electrostatic disinfecting machine. We still have not received it. I've sent them another email today, so asking where it's at. I'm trying to think if there's anything else at this time. Mr. Wolf mentioned state reports to KDE. We've had several reports that we submitted. We were one of only, I believe, 14 districts that used our attendance numbers from this year and not last year, because we don't include transportation in our SAR budget. So they're manually have to calculate what our SAR number will be regarding our ADA. But we do think we'll be up this year compared to the previous year, and that's why we use this year's data. So I'm waiting to hear from them regarding the final numbers back.
Yeah, we were one of the, I think it was either 14 or 19 districts that went with that number based on transportation because of our increase in enrollment. Today, the governor just announced that to predict our funding for this coming school year and the next school year, they're going to use the ADA numbers from the year that you chose over the past two. So the good news is they're anticipating the challenges with attendance, with kids some learning home virtually, some being here for periods of time, some being out for periods of time, and providing relief to schools and not have to worry about, well, our attendance is going to be 4% lower and our budget is going to be 4% lower. So they've gotten together, thankfully, and come to some very common sense approaches of just, let's keep your numbers to be about what they were the last 2 years and fund you on that and not have to stress about that. So that was welcome news for school superintendents and finance officers across the state to try to have some idea what our budgets are going to look like. Now, that does not mean that money is guaranteed to come in, because we know that there's always a possible shortfall based on revenues that are coming in or not coming in from across the state. So at least we know that our money is not tied to attendance in the schools for this year and for next year.
Okay. Ms. Ponting, you're up.
Okay, let me unmute myself. Hello.
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 How is everyone doing? Mine's short and sweet too. You know, I think our daycare report was actually, we were not in the red, which was, we ended in the green based upon our CARE Act money and our CCAP funds that we received. So that was a good thing. With preschool, again, they are not doing preschool partnership grants next year. So we have till the end of September to spend what we had received this year. So with that, we have already purchased all of our books for Book a Week for this year, as well as we're going to complete that second phase of the outdoor learning area, play area. Again, we are offering 1 full day Head Start and 2 full day preschool classrooms. And that being said, I think Casey's working on our online registration for kindergarten and preschool, which the state is they're paying for, right? Casey, clarify, the state's paying for that service this year. So I think we'll be up and running July 1st with that.
We've had both of our attendance clerks from both buildings watching trainings on doing this online registration, and I hope to get that incorporated for our families so that they want to come in and register their students.
Good news, our annual determination from KDE came back, and we did meet all of our indicators, so that was good. Again, I'm with Ron and Rick doing our end of the year reports, so those have all had to still be completed this month. So the ones I have done for us, we are still looking good. I think we met all of our deadlines for our indicator 11, which is our to complete evaluations within 60 days. And that was really great, knowing with everything that went on with COVID and the closures. So I was really proud of our staff and that we did meet that indicator again this year. Next year, I think it's an action item, but just to kind of brief you on next year's, again, we get from when I started 2 years ago to now, we've probably increased our Medicaid funds about $40,000 to $50,000. And so just typically with Medicaid, we only get reimbursed for kids who have those services listed on their IEPs. The state has now issued, starting next year, an expanded CARE Act, and that we'll be able to bill anything. It does not have to be on an IEP. So a child who is a diabetic and has Medicaid, nursing will be able to bill for those services. As is if we have a child who we are giving therapy to, it could be PT, OT, speech, or mental health that we don't even have. And some kids do get mental health in their IEPs, but there's many that don't. Those kids will now be able to bill for those services. So with that being said, I think there's an opportunity for us to gain a lot of extra funds based on this expanded CARE Act.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions?
Well, part of that expanded Medicaid is Nicole's great at it, and you're going to see that request for approval of the 2 mental health positions, and she can kind of go over that when we get down to item 8B. But today, Lieutenant Governor Coleman made an announcement related to funding with Medicaid as well and increasing funding for that. So Nicole and I have already had conversations. She's going to start digging around to figure out how we can utilize those resources to provide more opportunities for our kids as well. So she's kind of our guru, master of Medicaid, and it's really been great helping our kids get more services that they're going to need. So kudos to you and your team. So bravo.
Mr. Brewer, food service.
Food service, always fun in the food service. So food service continues to operate at a high level through June. They continue to do the at-home delivery model that they've been doing. We are going to slow things down in July a little bit. If you think about it, our food service team basically flipped the whole script and really hasn't taken any time off since March the 13th. They did have spring break. But normally, when they take these positions, they're looking forward to being off all of June and July, and they're beaten down and tired. So we're going to do a modified operation that will continue to do home delivery of some of the free store food bank pantry items, but also allow for families to come down here. Believe it's going to be twice a week and pick up food items that would come out of the food service, kind of a dry good pickup for those families. So kudos to our family resource team, because they have staff members such as instructional assistants, teachers, coaches who are on our delivery team who are going to step up and kind of do the role of our food service employees. They're not going to be doing the cooking and all those things because we're not going to be cooking in July, but they're going to be bagging, boxing up the food for when they come in. So we'll be stepping back a little bit, but our team needs a breather, because coming in the fall, when we look at the food service operations, it's going to be a real creative way to make that happen as well, because indications are it won't be like we've had it in the past, as far as 200 kids in the Lincoln cafeteria all eating at the same time. So going to have to get real creative with how we do those, whether that means some of the kids are in the cafeteria socially distancing, while others are eating in their classrooms, is more than likely the hybrid that we're going to strike for with the food service. So our food service balance is very healthy. We've got a nice surplus there coming out of the COVID, which was a concern, because basically we went from having a full cafeteria full of customers to now delivering to our customers at home. So on the business model, kudos to Chef Pam and her team for pulling it off fiscally as well.
Okay, we'll move on to our action items then.
All right, we got a number of action items that I'm really excited about that really fall in line with our school mission to inspire, engage, and grow. And I really think these are things that are going to help our district to grow. So the first one is approval of a personnel exchange contract between Southgate Independent Schools and Dayton Independent Schools. So our board is familiar with everyone besides Lori, who's new, how we collaborated with Silver Grove before they were consolidated with Campbell County. For efficiency's sake, we took over the financial operations with Silver Grove their last 2 years. And the benefit to us is that they compensated the district back and compensated our employees. Southgate has been using Newport Independent Schools for those services the last, I think the last 2 to 3 years. So instead of Southgate having to hire a separate finance officer and human resources person, we do a personnel exchange, and basically our folks take over their responsibility. So when they run our payroll, they run their payroll. When they do their benefits, they do our benefits. When we do our budgets for the state, our finance officer also does them. So they kind of do them in tandem there. Newport's in a transition with a superintendent, new superintendent, new finance officer, and felt that that was taking on too much. So fortunately for Dayton schools, you've got an old, tired superintendent and a very not old, but very experienced finance officer who and human resource team that can take that on. So it's my recommendation that we approve the personnel exchange contract. It'll be a benefit to both our school system and to Southgate. And for those of you who aren't familiar or playing along at home, the superintendent from Southgate is none other than the Greg Duty, who was Lincoln Elementary principal, Dayton High School grad. So he's very familiar with us. We're very familiar with him. So it helps with the process there to have that familiarity of people, and we feel like it's going to be a win-win for both.
So I need a motion.
So move with the superintendent's recommendation.
I'll second.
Bernie moved and Carrie seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
All right, the next one is request approval to add 2 mental health positions. And Nicole, you're still on here with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Basically, I'll let her explain a little bit what she's proposing here. We are proposing here. It is you who are following along with concerns prior to COVID and now coming into and out of COVID is the mental health of our students. So Nicole's really done a great job of working with the building principals and their teams to look at, I'm going to call very creative ways to bring those services to our kids and not directly impact our general fund budget. So Nicole, take it from here.
All right. Again, this positions will be paid for through the Medicaid additional funds we're getting. And currently we're doing, our day treatment has done really extraordinary things for some of our students. And we have contracted with Holly Hill. That being said, they were the ones billing Medicaid. It was not costing us anything, but they're billing Medicaid. So with that being said, I feel like with the new hiring a mental health therapist, our own, that person will be in charge of the daycare, of the day treatment program. And we will continue. I think we're going to expand day treatment next year in the high school as well. Continue with the middle school one, as well as implement some early childhood therapy groups too, with that mental health therapy position. So she'll be able, without doing, that person will also be able to do additional billing. She'll be able to do intakes. There's a lot of different things that our Medicaid codes went from 40 to over 100 codes now that we're able to bill for. So that expansion alone is going with between, a lot of it was dealing with nursing and mental health services. I want to ask for a mental health coordinator for the district. We have a lot of outside therapists that come in and who are wonderful. I feel like this person will oversee those, make sure that stay in contact with those ladies and the school counselors who oversee those as well. I think this person needs to be in charge of our trauma-informed care training. I think this person needs to work with staff administration to do universal screening for mental health, social emotional wellness. We don't do that right now, and I think that's going to be a need to make sure we're hitting all of our students. So I feel like with these addition of these 2 positions, we'll be able to hit every student that needs those extra treatments, no matter what if they have Medicaid or not, because we will be having our own. So that alone, I think, is giving the opportunity to those students who need that extra therapy, the ability to get it as well.
Obviously, there are some risk involved, and the risk would be us taking on 2 extra positions, and if for some reason the funding doesn't work out. However, I really trust the track record of Nicole and what she's been doing with the occupational therapy, the other mental health areas, that this is going to play out. So it would be a worst case scenario is we roll through this 1 year and we fall a little bit short and have to reorganize and go that way. But I do feel like sometimes you got to stick your neck out a little bit to get the turtle moving along the road there. So we're going to stick our turtle head out and try to move down the road here.
And we've talked about it, and I think if you've listened to superintendents webinars and stuff, there's a really good, there's a lot of interest in, I want to say, of the state looking at mental health needs of students coming back from this as well. We feel like they're going to be greater than where they were for us. There'll be new things that we have to deal with students after this pandemic. So I feel like the more we can have these students be emotionally ready to learn, the better they'll be in the classroom.
And I believe these individuals will also help us with our teachers who continue to learn in here. And I like to use some different terms in mental health. I like to use the term brain health and mental immunity when we talk about these types of things. So there are certainly strategies that we can do to get our kids' brains healthier. And there are certainly strategies that we can do to build physical immunity, but there are also strategies you can do to build mental immunity. And I don't think anyone could argue that now more than ever, we need brain health and mental immunity throughout our community. So kudos to you and your work on this. So unless you have any questions, it is my go ahead. Yeah.
Nicole, as these students are identified, who's going to provide the services for the students that have some mental health issues?
Well, a lot of our outside therapists that we get from North Key and Cincinnati Behavioral Health, those go through referrals through the school counselors, or I think high school does the FRC coordinator. So I kind of want to streamline that more with the coordinator being involved and seeing, because I think a lot of times we came to the point where they were just pulling students, and they were like, wait, you can't pull these students from all these academics. This was more so in the high school too. Mm-hmm. We were having issues with scheduling and things like that, and I felt like if there's a coordinator that can oversee that, that will be better. And I think the coordinator will be able to see students too, the overflow, because I think most of our therapists are full now. They were full. So that will be the overflow. The additional therapist and the coordinator will both be able to see students as needed.
Okay.
And I think, and the person I have in mind for our coordinator, I think he'll do really well with, I feel like we need to do more wraparound services and do more home visits for mental health and have those supports where that person, coordinator, is able to go into the homes and help these parents and get them also additional services as needed too.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I need a motion to approve our 2 mental health positions.
So moved with the superintendent's recommendation.
I'll second it.
Bernie moved and Diane seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, moving onward.
All right. Next is a request to approve athletic director stipend for achieving Athletic Administrators Association recognition. Those of you familiar with the work of our athletic director, Barbie Lukens, not only does she work diligently behind the scenes, she's very much in front of the scenes too. So behind the scenes, she's been taking coursework and getting certification at a national level. This certification would be similar to a rank change for teachers and or a national board certification. Occasionally, athletic directors will receive this certificate, and often school districts will recognize them. So, when Barbie came to us and said, I would like to do this to become better at my job, obviously it aligns strongly with our mission to grow. So we applaud her for that. We'd like to recognize her for that effort. Those of you who aren't familiar with Barbie Luken, she is also a special education teacher, so she wears multiple hats in our district. So some districts will have a full-time athletic director. Barbie is a full-time athletic director, but also has a side job of being a teacher for 5 bells out of the day. Barbie was also, very important in the execution of Malachi Lawson's high school diploma. We need somebody to work with Malachi online on some things, and Barbie Lukens on her second job there as not athletic director, as teacher, stepped up and did that for us. So we want to acknowledge her. So excited to see our staff step out and grow, and it's my recommendation that we approve this athletic director stipend for Barbie Lukens.
So I need a motion.
So move with the superintendent's recommendation.
I'll second.
Bernie moved and Carrie seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
All right, a term we haven't used in a while, which is a good term, which is the school improvement grant, which came along with funding when the high school was designated priority school. So we still have existing or had existing funds, and now we still have existing funds as we play the game of never ending moving around of grants and programming. So currently we had been funding a digital learning coach through the grant. We anticipated the grant ending and expiring at the end of this school year. They have extended the use of some of that money into next year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, what we're looking to is to re-envision our media specialist positions throughout the district. So instead of saying, well, we're going to get rid of the digital learning coach position because we have to go back to what we've traditionally always had, we're looking at providing current services to current needs of teachers and students. So the way we're going to package our media would be to have one district media specialist, and that would be our LES media specialist / librarian who would oversee the libraries in the district. We currently have a wonderful high school, middle school instructional assistant who does a fabulous job of working a lot of the book literature and in our high school library. And then that individual will work closely with our digital learning coach to make sure that services continue for students in our high school, middle school media center. But the digital learning coach is really going to bring in that strong component that we need for technology support and technology learning. This person will be teaching in the rotation technology classes to students at the middle school and the high school level. So trying to get creative with the personnel that we have and the funds that we do have. I feel this will be a positive step forward for our students and our staff.
Okay, then I need a motion.
So move with the superintendent's recommendation.
I'll second it.
Bernie moved and Diane seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right.
All right. I see we still have Mr. Wolf here online. I know he works closely with our finance officer on the district funding assurances. Mr. Wolf, you want to, in 2 sentences or less, describe what we have here for AD?
Correct. So these are assurances that are in a online program called GMAP that we are required to go in there and hit yes on each one. It just basically says that we're going to spend monies according to how they're supposed to be spent. And it has to be approved at a board meeting in June or July, and we have to upload documentation of that back into GMAP. So I don't know if anybody has any questions on there. You can look at the whole list, litany of things we had to say yes on.
I made sure they were all yeses.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Yes. So you read through there, it gives you a yes, a no, or an NA. And I'm like, well, if we hit no, are we not going to get funds?
Never hit yes.
Yeah. So that's all it is.
Okay, then we need a motion to approve the request.
So move.
I'll second.
Is that Carrie?
Yeah.
Bernie moved and Carrie seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And then we have our last need of a motion to make the agenda and attachments part of the official board meeting records.
So move.
And I'll second it.
Bernie moved and Diane seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Don't think we have any communications, new business or unfinished business. You had the informational site-based minutes from the 2 schools. If we have any citizens or delegations that are listening in, if they have any questions, now's the time. Do we have any questions or any comments or anything?
There is nothing there.
Okay. And if that's the case, I need a motion for the board to go into closed executive session.
So move to go in closed executive session.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Then we will move to executive session.
See you guys. Have a good evening.
Bye,
Bye, guys. Thank you so
motion to adjourn?
So moved to adjourn.
I'll second it.
I'll second it.
We're gonna give that some more.
I'll second it.
Yeah, we're gonna give
All
that
those
one
in
some more.
favor? Aye. Opposed? Then we are adjourned.
All right.
Great meeting, Jay.
Always wonderful to work with, and
Thank you.
thanks for the grace and patience as we try to get through this. So someday we're all gonna laugh about, hey, remember when we had the pandemic?
You know what? I'm actually grateful Trenton was a senior last year because this year's going to be worse.
You know, Carrie, you are 100% right.
Yeah.
100% right. It's almost like when the seniors walk in this year, I'm putting them in caps and gown and getting a picture of them right away.
There you go.
Terrible.
Yeah, right away.
I hate that they got to start this way, but okay.
All right, take care.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Good.